Hey everyone, I'm Jon Jordan, your host for the show and the theater manager here at the Albert and Eunice Boscov Theater, conveniently located on the first floor of GoggleWorks Center for the Arts, right here in beautiful downtown Reading, PA. Welcome to the April 2025 episode of At the Movies. If you're a movie lover here in the greater Reading area, this program is for you. We'll keep you up to date with some of the coolest local movie theaters, offering some of the coolest programming, from new release indie titles to major blockbusters on the biggest screens around. Local film premieres, annual film festivals, and unique cinematic experiences you aren't likely to find anywhere else. We'll take you behind the scenes at some of your favorite movie theaters, showing you a side of them you've likely never seen before. And hopefully, we'll introduce you to some new movie theaters you haven't visited yet. This month on the show, our spotlight theater is Shankweiler's Drive-In in Orefield, PA. We'll talk about its history, its typical programming, and everything that makes it unique. Then we'll take a look at the month of movies ahead at all of our friendly neighborhood theaters, including the Boscov Theater and Reading Movies 11 and IMAX right here in Reading, the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville, the Emmaus Theater in Emmaus, Shankweiler's Drive-In in Orefield, and of course the Mahoning Drive-In in Lehighton. So, grab your popcorn and sit back. At the Movies starts right now.
My name is Matt McClanahan.
I'm Lauren McChesney.
And we're the owners of Shankweiler's Drive-In Theater in Orefield, Pennsylvania. We do a mix of new releases and classics. We're primarily a first-run theater. That means we bring in the latest Hollywood blockbusters. But we're a drive-in, so we typically do a double feature. And so we use that as a means of diversifying our programming and bringing in either classic films or maybe some more obscure indie releases as co-features to kind of enhance our programming.
We have everything from hamburgers and hot dogs to popcorn and nachos in our snack bar. He's got like his whole thing.
Every night I had to make this announcement. So we've got everything from drive-in treats to full meal options, burgers, hot dogs, fries, funnel cakes, and of course the best popcorn in the Lehigh Valley. And we also have like vegetarian options as well. We do have standout veggie dogs that Lauren took an entire year to research and develop which brand hot dog was the best for our vegetarian option. We also have standout hot chocolate as well. Our hot chocolate is known for its, its cozy deliciousness.
Yeah. We also work with a local ice cream parlor to get custom ice cream sandwiches, which we carry here in the snack bar. And we like to change those seasonally, so sometimes they go along with the movies. Like we had pink ice cream and green ice cream for Wicked. We had chocolate cherry for Valentine's Day. And they've been awesome about partnering with us and coming up with creative flavors. We can fit 300 cars, and then however many people are in those cars.
Well, as you can see, we're a drive-in, we're outside. So really, the experience of watching a movie is kind of whatever you want it to be. So you can watch from inside your car, which is the classic, 50s drive-in way to take in a movie, but you can also sit outside in front in chairs like this. And so there's a lot of ways you can take in the movie. A popular thing that we've seen in the last couple of years is people will bring their like SUV or their crossover and they'll actually raise the back hatch and sit in the back and kind of create like a cozy little like living room setup. And we see that happening all the way through the winter too. People love to kind of bring their own sort of custom.
Although we see chairs outside during the winter sometimes too. People like to sit in the snow. More power to them.
We have a fairly modern projection room, typical of a first-run theater. We are digital projection. That's what enables us to bring in these new released movies. We have a giant projector. I like to joke that it's half computer, half furnace. It has a massive xenon lamp, and it takes a lot of power to run. So what kind of makes it a little bit different from the indoor is just the sheer size of the projection equipment and the power required to get light up on that massive screen behind us.
Shankweiler's Drive-In Theater opened April 15th, 1934. It was the second drive-in theater ever built. The first drive-in theater was in Camden, New Jersey, and Wilson Shankweiler was an entrepreneur in the Lehigh Valley. He traveled over to New Jersey, saw the drive-in, and thought that it would be a cool thing to set up behind his inn, which is, I don't know if you can see it, but it's the funeral home that's on the corner now. But that used to be the Shankweiler Hotel, and that was a famous inn and hotel and restaurant. So he had this like little baseball field set up behind it and turned it into a drive-in with a bed sheet hung between poles and a little tabletop projector, and it just started evolving from there.
The drive-in has been built and rebuilt several times over its lifespan, some by upgrades and some by not by choice, forces of nature. So the drive-in originally had a wooden screen tower that was Academy ratio. It was a little square screen. And in 1955, Hurricane Diane came through and damaged the place severely, forcing Wilson to rebuild the drive-in. And at that point, in the mid-50s, it was an opportunity for him to kind of bring the drive-in up to the then modern spec. And that's when we got things like the grating and the ramps and the giant cinemascope screen that you see behind us.
That's why the snack bar looks a little bit more traditional with other drive-ins at this point. It looked a little different before that, but it started turning into the classic drive-in setup.
It's important to kind of keep in mind that Shankweiler's came up before drive-ins were a thing. So it predates a lot of the classic drive-in infrastructure that we all recognize in a traditional theater. So, you know, that the natural disaster, as unfortunate as it was kind of an opportunity for Wilson to bring the theater up to that modern spec. I've been in the drive-in business for a little over a decade. I got my start at another drive-in north of here that is a Revival House theater, and it runs 35mm film. At the time it was first run, this was like 2014, so tail end of 35mm film being distributed. And so the going thought was go digital or go dark. And we took that model kind of on its head, and we leaned into 35mm and turned it into a retro art house or a repertory house theater playing classic kind of grindhouse cult films. And that took off, and I really spearheaded the marketing on that and the general theater operations. So I was all over the place doing all kinds of stuff, and I got really involved in exhibition. Before that, I was into filmmaking. So I was kind of taking that love of movies and applying it to showing movies. And then I ran that for about 6 years. And during that time, Lauren started coming to the theater.
Yep. I was a social worker at a hospital, and I liked going to movies by myself. So I started going to his drive-in and met him there. And eventually we started dating. We started traveling around and going to other drive-ins, and we always talked about what it would be like if we owned our own. And then this one was for sale.
Yeah, 2020
we
hit.
lived like 10 minutes from
and the pandemic happened, and all the movie theaters had to close down. At the time, I was starting up this tiny little company that was doing pop-up movies. And in just a couple months, I really quickly grew that business to get a bigger screen and do drive-in style events for these shuttered theaters. And that became a full-time job. I was the exhibitor for a lot of area theaters who were closed during the pandemic. And I did that for several years. And it was actually by growing that company, it enabled us to create kind of a proof of concept to then purchase Shankweiler's. It's the oldest one. That's probably the big one. It's got the Guinness World Record to prove it. You know, whenever we say online, like, this is the oldest drive-in theater operating, we get a lot of the actuallys, and they're always wrong. Yeah. This is the oldest one operating. The only one that was older than this is actually long gone. In fact, the Camden Auto Park, is that what it was called?
Or Park Inn.
Park Inn, one of those names. It was before
It flips between them.
flips around, but it was only open for about 5 years. So for the majority of Shankweiler's existence, it has been the oldest operating theater. Also, our programming kind of makes this stand out, because most first-run theaters are strictly first-run. Maybe they'll run a retro movie every once in a while, but it's not part of their core programming, where we've really integrated it to be part of what you can expect to see here at the drive-in at any weekend, whether that's in the winter or the summer. You're not going to be surprised to see a retro movie creep on our screen, at least for a co-feature. We like to kind of make that unique pairing, and we're very intentional about what we put on screen, as much as we can be.
Be sure to tune in here to At the Movies every month for a behind-the-scenes look at one of our participating theaters. Now, let's take a look at all of our friendly neighborhood theaters to see what kinds of programming they've got coming up this month.
In April 2025 at the Boscov Theater at GoggleWorks Center for the Arts in Reading, Pennsylvania. Playing into the beginning of the month, we've got The Last Showgirl, starring Pamela Anderson. The Last Showgirl plays daily through Wednesday, April 2nd. Opening for a limited engagement on Thursday, April 3rd, we've got the latest film from Silence Synced, Buster Keaton's Sherlock Jr., with REM's Monster and New Adventures in Hi-Fi. This one-of-a-kind cinematic experience has limited showtimes Thursday, April 3rd through Sunday, April 6th. And then opening Friday, April 4th, and playing daily through Thursday, April 10th, we've got the wild new sci-fi horror film, Ash. Opening Friday, April 11th, and playing daily through Thursday, April 17th, we've got Seven Veils. Opening Friday, April 18th, and playing daily through Thursday, April 24th, we've got the Oscar-nominated documentary, Porcelain War. Also, don't miss out on a special panel discussion about the film immediately following the 7 p.m. showtime on Saturday, April 19th. Finally, opening Friday, April 25th, and playing daily through Thursday, May 1st, we've got the new crime drama from Neon, The Actor. And that's April 2025 here at the Boscov Theater as of now. You can always find our complete schedule of upcoming films and events and purchase tickets in advance at GoggleWorks.org. We can't wait to see you this month at the movies. In April 2025 at RC Theaters, Reading Movies 11 and IMAX in Reading, PA. They've got a number of films now playing, including The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, Disney's Snow White, Alto Nights, Woman in the Yard, A Working Man, and Death of a Unicorn. Also releasing this month, they've got a Minecraft movie, Warfare, King of Kings, The Amateur, Drop, Sinners, Until Dawn, and The Accountant 2. They've also got some special events coming up this month, including The Chosen Last Supper Part 2 from April 3rd through April 9th. John and Yoko in IMAX, April 11th through the 17th. Pink Floyd at Pompeii in IMAX, April 24th. And the Met Opera, Le Nozze di Figaro, on April 26th. And of course, they've got ongoing promotions at the theater, including Theater Ears. Listen to movies in Spanish using the free Theater Ears app. Earbuds are available for purchase at the theater if needed. My First Movie Experience program. Celebrate your little one's first big screen adventure with their My First Movie Experience commemorative ticket. Visit rctheaters.com/my-first-movie for more information and for tips on how to prepare for a first movie. And of course, sign up for RC Theaters' Improved Rewards program. For their complete schedule of showtimes and to purchase tickets in advance, visit rctheaters.com.
Hello, Bob Trade here from the Colonial Theater, and I am in our iconic 1903 screen, which is our largest theater. It seats over 592 people comfortably. I'd like to tell you about our repertory films that we have coming up for the month of April. So first up, we're doing a tribute to Michelle Trachtenberger, who tragically passed away, with a screening of Harriet the Spy on April 5th. Now that is an 11 a.m. show, so it's a very early show. It's a fun one to bring the kids out, and parents, I know you're up anyway at like 7. So, Sunday, April 6th, we'll have a screening of William Friedkin's Sorcerer. And that's going to be on the big screen. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's an intense, incredible movie. If you like Roy Schneider from Jaws, you're really going to like this. Now, starting on April 9th is our very first Rom-Com Wednesday. So every Wednesday moving forward, once a month, we'll be having a rom-com film. And our first one is Pitch Perfect with Anna Kendrick and Rebel Wilson. So you definitely want to come out and see our very first Rom-Com Wednesday screening. Now, on April 13th, we'll be screening the classic Roman Holiday with Audrey Hepburn. On April 13th, that very night, our Art House Cinema Sunday will be screening Charles Burnet's Annihilation of Fish. Now, this is a 4K restoration of his lost film. It features James Earl Jones, Lynn Redgrave, and Margot Kidder. Definitely not something you're going to see streaming someplace. Definitely want to come and see it in our big theater, and it'll be in this very theater on April 13th. Now, our new annual tradition here at the Colonial is to screen Jesus Christ Superstar. We're screening that, as always, on Good Friday. So you definitely want to come out and check out that. You can rock out. It's an incredible musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber. But that night, if you stick around to capitalize on our Easter offerings, we'll be screening Night of the Lepus, which is a movie about giant bunnies, people. Giant bunnies terrorizing a small Southwest town with Janet Leigh and DeForest Kelley from Star Trek. Yes, it's going to be on 35 millimeter. Very rare opportunity to see Night of the Lepus. Now, later that week, on April 23rd, a Wednesday, speaking of Star Trek, we will be screening William Shatner's The Intruder. This is a very powerful film. It is directed by Roger Corman. Roger Corman said it was the only picture he never made money off of. It is a bit intense and it's a bit rough, and it is about a racist agitator that comes to a small town that is just integrated in the 60s. It's going to be a rough watch, but it is a rewarding watch and is rarely screened. This is a UK print, courtesy of Exhumed Films. So April 23rd, definitely not for the timid, but for people who really enjoy cinema and seeing something. This is William Shatner before Star Trek. He made this before Star Trek. So I definitely want to check it out. On Alien Day, that's April 26th, the Colonial will be celebrating Aliens with Sigourney Weaver, directed by James Cameron. It's a 9 o'clock show. It's going to probably fill up, so you definitely want to get your tickets for that right away. Now, on Sunday, April 27th, speaking of creatures that will not go away, we will be screening Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. That's April 27th, The Birds. A fantastic film, incredible movie. Definitely one to see with an audience. You don't want to watch The Birds by yourself. You want to watch The Birds in a movie theater. And then finally, our last big repertory show of April will be April 30th. We will celebrate International Jazz Day, and that is Jazz on a Summer's Day. That's what we're going to be screening. And it is sponsored by Forever Changes here in Phoenixville, which is a great record shop that you can check out just a block and a half away. So I invite you to come to the Colonial. Check out our website, our social media. We post everything that we do. And in case you hadn't noticed, I am wearing a Blobfest shirt, and all of our Blobfest titles, announcements, details, everything is up for Blobfest, which starts July 11th. So Blobfest will go on sale April 3rd for members and April 4th for the general public. So Blobfest 2025, Camp Blobfest. Hope to see you at the Colonial. Thank you.
In April 2025 at Shankweiler's Drive-In in Orefield, PA. Playing April 3rd through the 6th, they've got the Minecraft premiere. On April 8th, they'll be playing Harriet the Spy. On April 12th, they've got their 91st anniversary celebration. And on April 19th, they'll have their spring egg hunt. For their complete schedule of upcoming films and events, and to purchase tickets in advance, visit Shankweilers.com. For the complete schedule of upcoming films and events, and to purchase tickets in advance for the Emmaus Theater in Emmaus, PA, visit EmmausTheater.com. In April 2025 at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater in Lehighton, PA. April 11th through the 12th, they'll hold their annual opening weekend double features of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Wizard of Oz. On April 13th, they'll be playing Candyman, paired with a Halfway to Halloween market event. On April 17th, they'll host their first Thursday ThreadUp film series event with Flash Gordon. Then on April 18th and 19th, they'll hold their Hitchcock Till You Drop weekend. On Friday the 18th, they'll play The Birds, paired with Rear Window. And on Saturday the 19th, the double feature will be Psycho and Vertigo. On April 24th, Thursday ThreadUp film series continues with William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Then, over the weekend of April 25th and the 26th, the Rocky Horror Drive-In Picture Show takes over with a double feature of course, the Rocky Horror Picture Show and Shock Treatment. Then that Sunday, April 27th, the Master Carpenter series kicks off with Big Trouble in Little China. For their complete schedule of upcoming films and events, and to purchase tickets in advance, visit MahoningDIT.com.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this month's episode of At the Movies. Get out there this month, support your local movie theaters, and experience some incredible new movies. Whether they're new releases or they're just new to you, the way they were meant to be experienced. With fresh popcorn in a distraction-free environment and on a massive silver screen. If you discovered this program through BCTV, whether you're watching it on bctv.org or on BCTV's live telecast, consider supporting them at bctv.org/support. BCTV is Berks County's local nonprofit community media organization that enables programs like this one to reach and inform more people in our community. Until next month, I'm Jon Jordan, and I hope to see you at the movies.
My favorite movie is Titanic, which is extremely long. And I've seen it in movie theaters every single time it gets re-released. I love it. I saw it when it first came out like 7 times in the theater. And when we started dating, Matt promised me that eventually I would get to see it on a big drive-in screen, and it has been 6 years and I haven't yet, but we'll get there. It's hard because it's not very easy to build a double feature around to do on a special event because it is so long.
Titanic's a very long.
It's like 3 hours and 45 minutes. And so we've talked about doing it and cutting it where the different tapes would cut off and do an intermission there, but it didn't originally have an intermission.
I think my favorite movie is whatever I'm in the mood to watch at the time, or whatever I've been thinking about a lot lately.
He's very moody.
Yeah, I'm very moody. I mean, my canned answers are like 85 Fright Night, Michael Mann's Manhunter, very stylized, very gritty 80s. I think about that movie a lot, so that's something that I always rattle off. But for some reason right now, I keep thinking about that movie Batteries Not Included from the 80s. I grew up watching it, and I saw it when I was like a little kid, and it's a kind of a cheesy like magic flying saucer alien movie, kind of like an E.T. ripoff kind of thing that takes place in a city. But then you watch it now, and it's like the saddest movie on earth. It's about like urban decay and getting old and like trying to save your neighborhood. Like it's really like heavy hitting stuff. And so I think about that a lot, where it's just like, oh, this like cheery like little alien movie, but then it's like about like really sad narrative about the human condition.
Our movie is from like the early 90s, like late 80s.
Yeah.
I think we're really heavy on that, where they looked cheery, but they were wildly depressing.
Yeah, they're
Land
just
Before
really
Time, Never Ending
intense
Story.
themes about life.